Hello, welcome back to another video, and today we have the explanation and tutorial for the 4x4 flush TNT Trapdoor because, yeah, the grand finale edit video has been delayed by like 4 days, so I just do these now. And unlike last time, I probably won't get this in one take. If I get this in one take, I'm actually very surprised because this thing will probably take over an hour to build. And yeah, before you're wondering, my notes are literally just due to the which order in which I build the circuits. So my notes just say build red, build light blue, build green. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. First, I want to mention the kill at E type equals TNT command if you are in 1.13 and above, I think. And before that, it was kill at E type equals primed, lowercase primed, capital TNT. That will kill each and every TNT in, well, basically like 3 ticks on the hopper clock. So, yeah, you want a 5D pole, which is 18 by 24, as you can see. That's kinda massive, but you will soon understand why it is this massive. And yeah, the TNT door will be, the door will be centered in the middle. And for the items, oh boy, for the items. Ta-da! 2 torches, because as I said like 3 videos ago, don't get used to seeing a lot of torches. They are absolutely useless. No, they're not absolutely useless, but like they aren't nearly as used in the trapdoors. 3 stacks and 10 dust. 3 stacks and 31 repeaters. Stack and 17 comparators, 2 stacks 48 of sticky pistons, 34 normal pistons, 20 redstone blocks, a toggled input like a lever or a T flip-flop, you know. I didn't bother to calculate how much blocks this is without color coding, so here's just the color coding, right? You have an input block, you have an input circuit to get the input to everywhere, you have 2 stack 35 of 4x4 double piston extender, you have 10 blocks of 4x4 single piston extenders, you have 2 stacks 42 of sliders, you have a stack of double piston extenders for the redstone blocks, you have 46 blocks for the TNT protection sliders. You have a circuit, which is literally just a block with a repeater for the closing. You have, where are these? You have 26 pink blocks, which are the block double piston extenders for the double piston extenders for the redirection bud. You have 20 blocks to refire to control when the sliders will fire. You also need 72 slabs or transparent blocks like stairs, glowstone, glass works in the newer versions, and 8 obsidian or any movable block. And a stack of TNT exactly for the frame. Now, you may be wondering, what the fuck, why do you have a stack and 17 comparators if there are no containers here? Well... Yes, that last one was bad. Look at this. You need 17 furnaces, 54 droppers, a stack, and 61 hoppers, 10 cauldrons with water, 4 rails for the redirecting, redirection buds. You need 6 tripwire hooks for other redirecting. You need a stack and 54 items for hopper timers, and then you need 9, 18, 36, 40 unstackable items. Let's go. At least this time you don't need any snowballs, right? So why is that funny? So yeah. So the door is centered, and your input block will be on the center, one of the center lines, all the way on the short side, the second block from above, right there. And it has dust on it, and this dust is basically the input, so you could also just like have a dust here or a repeater here. You know, you can even carry this out 15, because this dust is only read by 2 repeaters, and yeah. So, quick heads up, the way I have to build this to make it look nice is completely random. because just like last time, we have this like 3 high layer with the slider, or tape last time, on which everything you can see cyan is built on top of. So if we were to build the logical order, we would build all this top stuff, and then we couldn't see shit for the bottom. So we start with the bottom, which don't happen in the order we build them, but we have to build them this way, and then build the top like slice. So yeah, let's start with the slider. So we have 4 sliders. We have 3 sticky pistons in these, like 9 sticky pistons in these positions, which is on the center, and then 1 away from the which is in the wall layer, and then 1 slice away from the outer shell. These are the only 2 layers you can cut on this edge, on this like dimension. It's actually layout sized, because so you know how the last door had double piston extenders here with redstone blocks and they extend? You can see that we need to get rid of these TNTs. And we can't just pull them back, because we need a double piston extender for the pink blocks right here. Because on top of that is the double piston extender. And you know we have to do a double now to get the block to here. So we can't pull them out, we have to slide them out, just like the redstone blocks. So the way we do that is we come to this part and put a sticky piston facing upwards with a single piston and another single piston on top of that. So on the other side, you can see this is on the outer shell, and then on the other side we do the same thing, but 1 in. And the pistons are extended in this position right now. And the reason for that is because we have the entire thing is basically a giant circle. So the thing is basically point symmetric, if that makes sense to you. So this part will be sliding upwards, this part will be sliding downwards, and this part will be starting from left to right, and that will be from right to left, and this will be from left. It all makes sense. It all mirrors around the center of the door, except the input circuit. So yeah, let's just start with the first couple of sliders. You want to come to the, well, we should start by placing the sliders in, right? So we have a couple of TNT here. We have a single light blue glass right there. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, 8 magenta for glass, 2 glass, and then 14 glass for the sliders. These don't have to be glass, unlike last time. They can be whatever they want, but I just like to code them. So what we have here, right, is a green box, and green glass usually stands for there is redstone blocks next to it. And this one is actually magenta, because this green is right here, and then these magenta ones are, this is purple. These magenta ones are here. And then of course you have 14T right here. So you can see already how this sort of works. This one pushes, then this one gets up, then these push, and then this pulls down. The reason this has to pull down is because of the push limit, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if we were to have just a standard slider here, this wouldn't work. Same for these. These will actually be a quad, and we can only have 3 in place right now because push limits exist. Yeah, so same for the other side. So we place these, and then we place 4 of these, and then we place a green one. And you can see that this air block right here suddenly makes a lot of sense, because now it's TNT, and now we have a like smooth slider. And yeah, let's continue here. We have 4 lime blocks, and then we have a glass, a cauldron in there actually, that will become important later. Again, it's bad to explain it like this, but there's no other real way to build this. So and below here in these 2 slots we actually have a worm, Make sure that worm doesn't fire for now. And that's our entire slider. So we mirror that on the other side, obviously. So for TNT, and then a glass, and then right here we have more glass, slider, a worm, a glass there, a cauldron, and then 4 blocks with 4 redstone blocks. So that's our entire sliders. But the slider is part of the sliders, and for the slider circuit, we are going to start off with the with these, because those are actually kind of different, but not really, but sort of. So you want to start off inside here with a dot and a dropper. This dropper conveniently prevents this from pushing when we, you know, it's butted, and that conveniently blocks it so that we don't have to worry about updating it. That goes into a block, into a one tick, into a block upwards, into another dropper facing this way, and a dropper facing that way. These are connected in a circle, and this will be what pulls, which does the retraction for the triple. Because this is where the push limit really comes in, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this one can't push. So yeah, fun, right? No, not fun. Yeah, so put an item in this dropper, and from there we go, we have a comparator reading it into here, we have a block up, we have a block right here, a block right here into a 2-tick, and a block right here into that block. So when we fire this, it will do that. And that will do the entire retraction when we're actually done building this, and that's not good. So you can leave it like this, doesn't matter. So in these convenient holes, we have 1-ticks. Here we have 2-tick facing this way, a 2-tick facing that way, 2 dust, a block right here, and this is a monostable and our input to the whole thing. From this dot, you actually want a 1-tick going into that one. Important that this is a 1-tick, that's a 2-tick, this will clock, because you can see the thing fires itself again, but because of this delay, it actually doesn't clock, because the item is still trapped inside this hopper, I think, when this dropper attempts to fire again. So after this, we want a slab for a 2-tick. Block, and then a... Wait, we are on the redstone block half, so we want these to be elevated, yes. So here we have a 2-tick and a 1-tick going into another block thing. And down here we have a 1-tick for the worm. I'll get into why the bottom one has a worm and the top ones don't, and why this is here but not here in later. When we are building this on the TNT side, we don't actually have these elevated. Here we actually have this just on the floor. And the reason for that will become apparent hopefully very soon. But yeah, for now, on the redstone block half, we want these elevated on slabs, and all of these has to be slabs, so we don't power it like these, you know. Anyways, continuing from here, we go on with a 4-tick into a monostable, into a 2-tick, into a dot, and place a block right here with your redirecting tripwire hook. Because right here are pistons, which we don't want to get powered by that. Here we have, right next to the input, we have another 4 ticks, going into a block, going into a dust, going into a 1-tick, going into a block, going into a piston with a block upwards and a dot. So this just delays when the pistons in this position get turned on. Hey, Cube from the future here. So what I just said about these pistons not turning on is actually not the reason. I was talking bullshit. So when this was designed on the TNT half, which you will hear later from me in the past. So when these push, and then this goes on, and then you can probably see why this pushing, updating this, needs to be there, because otherwise otherwise the TNT in this position would just go boom, you know? Okay, back to the video. And here we have a 2-tick, I believe, yeah, and a 4-tick going into 2 sticky pistons, going into 2 normal pistons. Before you place those, you need an immovable block right here. And that should, in theory, be the entire slider. Yeah, you can see the bottom one didn't work, and that's actually intentional. We fire this twice. For this side. On the other side, it will do everything perfectly. So, yeah, I forgot to place the worm here. This also has a worm. And now the last thing that's left to do is place a 4-tick here, a comparator here, a block, and through that block we read a dropper hopper with an item in it. So what this will do is when we fire this, you can see it butted this, and that pushed this back. So why do we have a worm? We have a worm because, as you can see here, we have these 2 normal blocks coming in. And, well, we power these with a repeater. If we were to have a third one below here with a normal piston there for the pushing, we would need a dust right here, and everything would be massive, and we don't even have the room to do this because everything in here will be filled later to like perfectly. So again, the push limit is the problem. So what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if this were to be a glass, we would have 14, like above. And when this would be 14, then this wouldn't be able to push on the second piston, because then again we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13 right here. And this would never ever be able to push backwards. So that's why we have this worm grab that and push this back, and that gives exactly the 1 block of air between these pistons that we need. Because, you know, as long as every time we push a piston forward, we delete an air block here. So we get rid of a piston to push from the stack, but we add another block onto the stack we need to push. So that's why we need 2 air blocks in between here, and this is like really cool that it uses like this worm in there. And yeah, I said we fire this twice on the opening, on the closing, because we need a 1-time monostable here with a normal piston into 3 ticks going into a dropper. Into a dropper with any item in it, and that will fire through that. You can see how that fires twice. And one cool thing to mention about this slider, right, is you can see that first these 1-tick, because, well, this is single, as I counted, this is like 13 blocks. So these are the only ones which can actually push. So they 1-tick to have an air block here, then the back one will fire. Then these will 1-tick right here, so these can be pushed in, and then they do the full extension and retraction. So if I just manually show that, you can see that 1-ticks, that 1-ticks, and then they do everything, and it's nice. Convenient abagate right here. The updating, this piston gets updated from the worm, and stuff happens. I'm sure you can see how cool this is if you know what you're looking for. Triple retraction, everything. The entire retraction is done by this one, by the way. Because smart design. I wonder if the guy who made this had a brain. I don't know. So yeah, we just mirror this entire thing on the other side. So I'm gonna go a bit faster here because, well, remember what I said about placing the dropper to conveniently not have that happen ever? So if we just like have this in the like neutral reset state, I guess we can also place these in to simulate the other stuff. So we just like fire this properly now. You can see that on the first time it should not have done that. It should not have done that. Okay. 2 ticks, 1 ticks, 2 ticks, 4 ticks. That is a monostable. 1, 2. Oh, that's the 2 tick, I think. Yeah, that's a 2 tick. Okay, mistake found. If we put that back there and then fire this again, I guess. Yeah, there we go. And I am retarded. Why is there no worm right there? Oh right, I forgot this one. Once again. There we go. So, yeah, that's the first half of the sliders done. We will do the other ones shortly, but first we gotta do all the stuff in between. So, we start off with these sliders, because these need to happen before those, obviously. So, get your magenta out, and actually immediately throw it away, because we need to place another one of those. We have a comparator right here into a 4 tick into this block. So what this does is it will push this block before actually... Well, there will be an immovable block in front of this, so that won't happen. So what this does is it pushes that one and then pushes that upwards. So in front of this is another dropper hopper. You can see how this is like kind of close. And here we have 3 3-ticks on top of this, going into a 1-tick, into a block, into another 1-tick, into that block. So if we just simulate this being here and give this one a pulse from this dropper hopper, you can see how these like, you can see how that does everything. And then this cauldron will actually keep this on with a 4-tick, I believe. So when this slider moves away, this gets pulled down, and after this slider will happen, so the timing is good on that. Actually, let me check if that's a 4-tick, because it might actually be a... Oh god, which block? This block. Hey, it's a 1-tick. Okay. Yeah, in my head it was oh, it's a 4-tick, but then I realized, wait, this doesn't make sense. It can be anything. Yeah, so that's this part of magenta actually. So on the other side it's the same. So a block here, a block there, magenta wool, comparator, repeater, updater, piston, comparator, 3-tick, 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 block, 1-tick, block, dust, 1-tick into a bud. And down here we have a comparator into a block, into a 4-tick. Did I place an item in this? Yes, I did. And then, of course, here's our thing that starts the entire bullshit. So, yeah, we are in this state right now. And now the question is, how do we get here? We will get to how we get there very shortly, because first we need to place the stuff in the middle here. So, bait out pink. And as I showed before, we have a double piston cylinder right here. And how the fuck do we fit this in here? Well, we can't use torches because, well, you can see why, I guess. And also, you have to remember, on top of this very thing is the double piston extender already. So torches are out of the question. What else can we do? We can do this, but then how do we power those? Exactly how you think. We just place redstone block pistons right here. And this gets power. This does your convenient falling edge right here. and then we just hook these up. So if we place an updater piston right here and here, we can fire this and see the full double, and then on the retraction we don't get the full double because we need the ABBA gate. So that's why these are actually budded, because I could have it done like this and then whatever. Just place two repeaters on one, and then a 2-tick repeater right there. And now what happens is the entire double works. So if I just like cut this open, you can see that when we fire the dust, it will bud this, but also power this piston and the piston below to actually so they can. And then after a tick, the dropper is no longer powered, and then it can power again, and we have the double. And then when we retract that, we have the dropper losing the item. And then these don't actually realize that they are no longer powered, because we keep the budded pistons on, and that's what causes the ABBA gate. And then this block retracting just does the final pulse with the droppers, because that's smart design. I wonder if the guy who made this had a brain. Yeah, same on the other side. And here is an interesting little detail. You see how this fires that, and we can't have that happen at all because, you know, there's a fucking... like, there are pistons on top of this. And on top of that is the TNT floor. The way we do that is these are actually extended when this fires, so they can't actually fire. And on the retraction, so when this stuff is actually opening, you can see that this dust right here is elevated, so it doesn't power the piston, and it just buds it without giving it an update, and that's why this is actually elevated. And also we can't have it elevated right here because there's redstone blocks next to this, so that would fuck up a lot. So yeah, another smart design by a guy who probably has a huge brain. Going into droppers, into items, into 1-ticks, into a bud, into another bud, into 4 ticks of delay, and there we go. And before we now do the last corners, we actually do this part, because how the fuck do you fit a double piston extender circuit in here? Well... so we start off with these, but one of this has to be a slab, and I forgot which. Actually, they don't have to be a slab. This used to be a slab because I had some stuff right here. But that's no longer needed, so the only slab you're gonna need is this one. For obvious reasons, I hope. You have a 3-tick, a 2-tick, and a 1-tick facing that way. And more dust, and more dust, more dust. Another 2-tick, a block, and then we have slab right here for, again, obvious reasons, I hope. This actually has 2 obvious reasons. We can't have this loop back, and we can't power that one. So, yeah, just your standard 1-ticks right here, and blocks with a double piston extender, and, well, your single piston extenders are also here. But, yeah. So that's your standard double piston extender circuit, which we can actually fire right now if we want to, but the question is, how the fuck do we get an input to here? Well. Look at this. Look at this convenience slice right here, right? Ah, God. And that goes into a dropper invert with any item in it. There you go, the extension, and then we just negate that with a rear block, I think. Actually, no, not the rear block. The dropper hoppers are just right here. And I believe that one has to be a slab because, yeah, that has to be a slab. There we go. And replace the sticky piston. And in here are 19 items. There we go. So when we turn this off, you can see it does the full double retraction. And yeah, we're gonna leave it like this for now. Actually, this, I was correct, this goes through a block, I just noticed. So that one that way, get the 19 items into that one. So, yeah, but build the same thing on the other side, so... actually one more. Again, 1 ticks down here, a 3 tick, a 2 tick, and a 1 tick. And another 2 tick, and... there we go. Sticky pistons would be helpful in this situation. Normal pistons kinda don't work. And then you have your 1 tick into a comparator into the invert of the 19 item hopper timer. There we go. And here we have a dropper invert. So there we go, that's that part done. And now we can actually do the other 2 corners, which are let's just do it, I guess. So they are they are really similar to that one, but they have a huge chain of hopper droppers running right through them. Because that's what I do. People have called this, called my late stuff, my stuff lately like dropper magic or similar things. So yeah, here we have these again with the upwards, so that we don't activate the double again by accident. We still have these with a 2 tick right here, and the 1 ticks, and the 2 ticks, and these 2 ticks. Oops. Yeah, that's another problem, by the way. We need to make sure the TNT doesn't blow up. That's another design choice made in this. So it was designed to work with TNT, to not blow this stuff up. Yeah, we have the 2 tick going into the 4 tick, going into the thing, going into the 2 tick, going into the thing, going into the redirection block, which will be broken and replaced later, because that's actually going to be a dropper. So, yeah, just need quick confirmation on the lime real quickly, because I am like sort of sure it's this is a 1 tick, but yeah, it is a 1 tick. Okay, everything's fine. So we still have this thing, and we still have the this thing with these. But here's where the stuff actually becomes different. So we still have this dropper, but as you can see, it's no longer shifted 1 block backwards. And I hope the reason why we shifted it 1 block backwards is apparent, so we can place stuff here, because we needed this space for magenta, which we don't need here. So what's missing? Why don't we have the 2 and the 4 here? We don't have the 2 and the 4 here because we need to take care of this slider. And this slider is fucking AIDS. Yeah. Let's just build it, I guess, so we still have the 4 ticks going into this block. This time we have a comparator right here. And this is where the madness begins. So this is not powered by a standard block. This is powered by a redstone block falling edge. So we have this going into this block. And when we fire this, this will do, this will one tick these and then they'll... Or rather, it will do it because these grab those, but like, we don't re-grab those. That's what that delay is for. And as you can see, we blew up a TNT somewhere. So we'll replace that, and then this should be fine to fire again. So if we just like do that, you can see everything worked fine. The only reason we have to fire this twice is because this worm gets budded on the second push, and that's why it only pushes the first 2 blocks on the first firing. And yeah, I didn't optimize it because I was under time pressure when I made this, and no need, right? It doesn't make the size difference. So, what do we do in here? This is actually the thing done. The main reason for the huge-ass complicated hopper stuff we are about to build is this slider. So the way we power this slider is from this this block, which fires this dropper, which is the first of many. So there will be another dropper right here. But so light blue fires this dropper. This dropper will then put the item into this thing to grab the thing. So if we just fire this with an item in here, we will see that it does the entire thing, and you can see this pushed this block out already. Oops. So that's that, and now we go into this dropper. And the way we fire this dropper is through this, because this is actually a thing with a redstone block under it, so this doesn't trigger it every time. And also you can see this will refire this piston, because if you remember the other slider, we need to push this, get this thing upwards, and then push this again. So that's conveniently also in here. Hi, I wonder if the guy who made this had a brain. No, okay, I'll stop with that joke now. Because clearly I don't have a brain if I do that same mistake I did a minute ago. So the item is now in here. What does the item do from in here? The item will go across 4, and then the item will go back around 1, like so. So 4 across, 1, and then over. And then the item will go around this part perfectly, so you can see how the item avoids these hoppers. And I think it goes to right here, and then goes back into here. Because this is actually a dropper facing downwards, just like the block below. Replace the tripwire hook, please, otherwise you're gonna run into issues with this powering that one. The top one particularly, the bottom one can push, but like if the top one blocks this piston from pushing, well, you have a problem. Yeah, and so from here we just dig a straight line through this. And go back into this one, but this because a dust pointing into 2 droppers at once, so if we just place that one below this one, is locational. We actually just have a little staircase right here where this goes into that and replace the one tick. And now we just put this back into there. So 1 to replace these 2 4-tick repeaters, and 3. Oh boy. How do we fire this? We fire this with 2 4-ticks. And from here we actually have a 1-tick running into this one, a block right here, a block right there, and a 3-tick. with a comparator right here, I think. On not a slab. So, where's the item? The item is in there. No, the item should be in... here. So, when we fire this, first of all we have to fire this. There we go. You can see what we're trying to prevent with the piston extension. So if we fire this now, we actually, yeah, there we go. That's what I was waiting for. The reason the TNT exploded was because this didn't extend because I didn't like program that in yet or like build that. Because what we have here is yeah, so what we have here is this right there actually gets powered from this comparator. This comparator can't extend this piston because the piston would destroy its own power source, so that's why that doesn't work. And here we have two droppers facing into each other, and in the bottom one is an item of your choice. And I need more blue glass. So you can see how I use like every little niche space that I have to fit in this thing. So how does this get fired? Well, good question. The bottom dropper gets powered from this Fortic. So when this thing happens, it powers the top one, and then after that it powers the bottom one because the bottom one is budded and needs an update to happen. So the item will go from the bottom into the top. So after this pushes, it will actually land. After this pushes, the other piston will extend, and then that doesn't happen. So if we just reset the item, which should be in this dropper right now, to back here, or back there, I guess. So this one obviously gets fired by this dust, and then this one gets fired by this dust, and then this one gets fired by this comparator. You know, if we just, well, fire this again, you can see how that extends, and then that pushes everything, and then this dust with this piston butts this dropper to push the item back down. So it's almost as if the game is her brain. You may be asking what the fuck is this? Why is this corner here? Why do you not just go? This delay is timed really, really, really precisely to not fuck up, to properly bud update the double piston extenders when they are in this state. So on the very last thing, we need this to push and to update this, and then that will work. Oh boy, time to mirror this. So we go here, we place the convenient droppers so the pushing bullshit doesn't happen again, although it can't happen here because this isn't budded, right? So 1 tick, and then 2 tick, 2 tick, and then dust, 2 tick, dust, 1 tick, 1 tick, 2 tick, 2 tick, block. The droppers will be right here, so if the last time was too convoluted for you, the droppers will be right here, right here, and right there. Actually, no, that's off. This one, and that one. So you want to connect this into here. You want to connect that into there. This one will do a turnaround, and then this one will just like do the massive turnaround. That is this corner, and put an item in the bottom one. The item will actually get stuck in this, but because there's dust on it, it will fire on the closing, and then it will get stuck next to this redstone block. And when the redstone block gets lifted, the item instantly gets into there, and then this dust fires that one. So we have another dropper hopper right here, part of magenta, going like so. Magenta, by the way, was 2, 3 ticks right here. And this one, and this one, these 4 ticks. There's a piston here, there's an item in there, there is dust right here, 4 ticks on these 2. This has a monostable in front of it, this has another 4 tick in front of it. This goes into a block, into a dust, into a 1 tick, into this one. And don't forget your obsidian and your 2 droppers right here. With an item in the bottom one, comparator, and yeah, 1 tick, and a comparator, and a dropper. Any item, and here you go a 1 tick, here you go a 3 tick on a slab, which we read from here. So, yay. And you can see on the, when we fire this again, right? By the way, we forgot to place this 2 tick and this block, and of course your redirection trapdoor. And again, the guy who made this had a brain, so you can see when we actually don't forget to place like the other stuff in this, to not ruin the illusion that I actually have a brain when in reality I don't. When we fire this now, you will keep a note on this. So did I place an item in this? Yes, did I place an item in this? Yes, okay. So the back one pushes. I fucked up. Because, oh. Okay, no, I don't have a brain. Ignore everything I ever said. So, yes, but if we just like fire this one, and then we fire this again. Okay, so this needs another, well, we need to right here, you grabbed, the bottom seems fine, the middle needs 2 TNT, the top needs 3 TNT, and this needs TNT. So if we just fire this again, hopefully hopefully this will, oh, I remember placing that. Yeah, so what I was trying to show off is, so because this is a sticky piston, this leaves an air block right here, and then this gets pushed up, and then this pushes again because of the, because of this, firing this again. And because we have this air block here, then we can just fire this. Which should conveniently have grabbed this downwards. Yeah, anyways, why aren't you grabbed? Because I didn't place this comparator. Okay, the guy who made this clearly had a brain, and the guy who is building this right now is clearly the biggest idiot on the planet. This is broken because we pushed this over, yeah. And you're missing a TNT. So if we fire this again, you can see the bottom one gets stuck right there, and then if we fire that again, it doesn't get stuck anymore. And you can also see why this is bad, because it powers this one. Anyways, actually this shouldn't be here at all. So yeah, we are in the completely wrong state, but let's just fire this again, because why the fuck not, I guess. Yeah, so this doesn't push because there's a 5th TNT missing. Because that 5th TNT is getting pushed into this place. And then this also is fixed again. So we should be in the correct state if I can figure out why this is not a 4 tick. And this should be right there. So that's our bottom sliders done. As So that should be our bottom sliders done, because... So that should be our bottom sliders done. And we can now move on to the entire layer which sits on top. And as you can see, so far we didn't have any symmetry breaks, and that will change when we get to the top, just because of how inputs work. So yeah, let's just do that, I guess. So we start off at our input block. You have to choose this one right now. It does sort of matter where you actually start, so we will just start on our input block. The layout will be your standard 4x4 layout with the block storage being in the corner of the actual square, and then your double boosting extenders will be hovering above the pink stuff. Like so, and then we have, of course, these pistons, and these singles are also there. With the thing. So we want to start at the input block, but before that, I guess we should start with the layout, which is actually kind of weird and unconventional. So you want to come to your double boosting centers and build this 1 tick, 1 tick, and then 3 dust. The 3 dust will be where this is, where this very block is. So on the redstone block half, you want the singular dust, and then you go into 4 ticks. And here we go again with all the slabs, because we can't butt shit. And yeah, that's kind of a problem. And then more butt prevention right here, and then this one is actually this one right here. And more butt prevention and a comparator. And a 1 tick and another 1 tick right here. So what do we have here? This is actually right there. So this is our entire circuit for the double boosting extender. Depending on how long of ticks you give this, it will do different things. Put an item in this furnace, by the way. And then this is a piston with your first cauldron on top of it, with water of any capacity. And then this will be your normal one, whilst on the other side, because the redstone blocks right there will slide under this piston, we need a obsidian here. Also, we go from this into a dust, into another dust right here with a 1 tick and another 1 tick, due to we have an asymmetry. Because we need this block, but we don't need this one. So we also need to do other stuff in this corner. So that's why this might look kinda weird. And just place a furnace with any item in it, and then this 1 tick will go into your actual normal block, because you're just gonna have. See, I'm helpful. I'm saving you all the unnecessary cauldrons, iron. So just place another furnace right here, which we can't do here because there is stuff here. So what does this do? Well, first of all, we need 2 more furnaces right here and right there, with a comparator running out, and that's our redirection bud. So this needs to be on a slab, by the way, because I hope the reasons are obvious. And this also needs to be on a slab on both sides, just because I hope the reasons are obvious. And yeah, then here we have our detector rail sliders, which we use for redirecting everything, which get powered from these pistons. So what does this do? If you give this a 4 tick, or a 3 tick for that matter, it will do the entire closing. Hooray! And if you give this a 1 tick afterwards, it will do that. And then if you give this another 1 tick, it will destroy a bunch of stuff. But if you give this another, like let's just pretend you give this another 1 tick. So yeah, then these will 1 tick, and so this destroys everything. But later in the actual door, we will prevent this by basically these 1 tick, and then the pink blocks come up perfectly, and then the slider here also pushes the first one through this, very first one, to update these and extend so that these don't destroy anything. And that was like one of the hardest parts about this entire thing, getting this to work. And the timing is kind of specific, so that's why there are all these, like, why there's 6 ticks in between everything. It could be a 2 tick if you had a pink single piston extender instead of a double. And the main reason it's 6 is actually because the double takes so long to retract and not to extend. But yeah, that's the entire circuit, because when you are in this state and just give this a... if you're in this state and give this another 1 tick, I believe, no. Was it a 3? There is a tick length at which it just grabs, where it just grabs things. But then again, it needs an update from the slider. That's why there are this many hoppers, and this dust is the one which resets the item from this. So, also convenient that this 4-tick repeater allows this to be placed, and another reason why you need you see, everything makes sense. So, how do we fire this cube? For the closing, where you just need a 3-tick or 4-tick for this, we actually fired through this with a hopper cycle right here. So what do we have here? We have 6 hoppers, yeah, under these, going in this direction. I should have placed this one first. So this one just loops around. Do we have a thing there? Okay. So single strength of 1 does absolutely nothing. And stop that. But if you put 13, I believe, items and a shovel. Let me check that on my notes. Yeah, 13 items and a shovel. You will get the following. If we just like slide this over. This is here to block the pink from extending from this dust, as I showed before, and this does the closing because we didn't place these back. So yeah, that's the entire closing, and convenient blockage of pink fucking up everything due to this dust being next to this piston. As if the guy who made this had a brain. Yeah, so we have to push this back at some point. And the way we push this, by the way, is just with our lonely orange repeater right there. Isn't that like cute? The cutest circuit ever. It's just a repeater going into a piston. Yeah. So that's that part done. Well, that's the closing done. So if we just mirror that on the other side with a 1-tick into a piston, into a redstone block, into another piston here, here, here. And then we have this hopper thing with 13 items. So there we go. And a shovel in there. You may be wondering, where the fuck are the other shovels? You said we need like what, 30, 40 shovels? Where are they? Patience, young Padawan. We will be getting there very shortly. Actually, no, we won't be getting there shortly. It's like the last thing we're going to do. So, yeah, place a block here for that, and then there's a 4-tick, and then there's some dust. with a 2-tick, and then some more dust, and then your comparator and your furnace. And fun fact, furnace, you might be thinking the hopper sucks the item. Hoppers only suck the result item from the furnaces, so everything is fine. And then, yeah, this goes 1-tick, dust, another 1-tick, and then these 2 pistons with the detector rail under this, and the totally obvious reasons why that has to be a slab. Not even that, that one as well. With the comparator, the next furnace, and this one had the cauldron on it. And water. This one had the normal block, and the other one needs the obsidian. So right here. But as a payoff, we have the normal block and not the comparator. This one, and this one. Yeah. So 4-tick into comparator, which I shouldn't have placed now. Actually that one. No, wait, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is the wrong one. This is the comparator. Because of... Oh, I don't have a brain. I lost my brain. Find my mind. That one, 1-tick, dust, 1-tick, dust, dust right here, because this actually looks like this, and then this one is actually right here, with slabs here and there. And then that gets powered through that by these 13 items and a shovel, just like these 13 items and a shovel. So, yeah, let's just test this real quickly, because I'm sure I made a mistake somewhere. Oh yeah, yeah, right. Good thing I tested that, because I would have forgotten that this got pushed over. Because brain. So, yeah, that's the closing done, and now we get to the asymmetrical part. Because where your input is on this side, you're gonna have a different circuit for the closing than on the other side, for obvious reasons. So, yeah, on the input side, we have well, from the input side, we basically what's going to happen is we have an entire line of input which goes around like this, and on the other side as well. But it doesn't look like this, so don't actually build it. Or build it and then we'll destroy and replace some stuff, right? So this is our entire line of input. Like this will get powered by the lever, and this brown shit will power everything else. So what's our inputs? Our inputs are currently this one, and the hopper timer, and this dropper, and the closing will actually be handled by this part. So that's our only 3 inputs we have to take care of. So let's start at the back, this one, because this, I managed to make everything symmetrical. So since the delay goes from this to here and from this to here, we actually need to put more delay on that to counter out the time it gets to back here. So first off, we're gonna place a torch right here and a block pushing down. That resets on the... So you know this monostable is used once on the closing, so when we open it, so when this torch turns on, we just push that down, and when we close it, it's like this, and it's free to do the stuff again. On top of that, we have a hopper timer. A hopper falling edge. Again, falling edges with dust right here. It's cool. Also, you can see that powers that one convenient. That goes into a comparator, that goes into a 4-tick repeater. We can't use a block right here because TNT ceiling, remember? That will conveniently reset this block on the closing, on the opening, so that will push that back. Here we go into a signal lengthener, going into more slabs. Going into a 2-tick and a 3-tick. I think this side has the 3-tick. Yeah, this one has the 3-tick. On the other one, it's not a 3-tick. Going into a block, and that is the first part of the opening. So this is the part which grabs the first block. And then for the other part of the opening, we're going to start right here with a... actually, we're not going to start right here. We're going to start here. So we have a 1-tick going into that, I believe. That will power pink. And let me just check if it's a 1-tick. It's a 2-tick. We have a 2-tick going into this because the 1-tick was actually right here. A dust right there. And that gets powered from here. And this is a dropper facing that way. Going like so with an item in it, and what the fuck happened? Oh, yeah, I put the item in the hoppers and not them. And then we have another tripwire hook right there to redirect this, so this doesn't actually power that one because that gets powered from here. You can see this monostable, which happily fits in there, and I couldn't be asked to get a different monostable. That's the 1-tick, which 1-ticks the back pistons of the Dolphus extender. Now I'm 99% sure that faces that way. Let me just double check. Yes, indeed. So we fire this through a rather long line right here. We have 3 3-ticks on this side, and then a couple of 2-ticks on the other side, with a comparator reading a furnace. And the way we negate that is with a slabber right here. And that just gets connected to the brown. And yeah, so what else happens here? Well, we are also going to control... We're also going to get an input from this hopper stuff, but not the way you think. So let's just work backwards. We come from here with a comparator and a 1-tick from this falling edge, which is actually a dropper falling edge. So a dropper and then another dropper, and then we connect these up like so, because we are going to power, put any item in there. We are going to power this from here, and the item will get stuck in here, and then we go through the whole pulse lengthener again, because here we give it a 4-tick, and then we extend that by 2. So if we give it a 6-tick, we do the first grabbing. If we give it a 5-tick, we will do the second grabbing, because we don't give these enough time to actually do what they're supposed to do. That's what I mentioned before with the whatever tick. So this is a falling edge. This is hooked up to this cauldron. And this cauldron is hooked up to the heart of the entire double. So we have a dropper facing up and a dropper facing that way. and these just pass the items off to each other. So this one has an item in it, the back one. And when we fire the... when we give it this pulse right here from the falling edge, so when we fire everything, this one tick will put the item from this into this. That will fire the pink double, as well as the one tick. And then, actually this is wrong. Oh yeah, I'm stupid. So, this is red, but these are actually red through. So we have this right here. So this is a block really going to that. So this item gets put into here, and then that will fire the pink double and the one tick, and then the one tick will actually put the item out of that, turning off the pink, and putting the item into this, which powers the cauldron. And then when this puts the item back into this, this turns off, and then this goes through all this delay, which is the time we need for the pink to turn off, and then it will do the retraction of the double. Yeah, that made like no sense, I think. So how do you fire this? That's actually a kind of good question. So we have another called Druid Furnace thing right here, which is constantly powering this block. And I should not fire this right now. So let me take this out, place this block, and then put that back in. So we power that through this. We push this down, and then when it gets pulled back up after a certain amount, like after a really long repeater chain, we then well, fire that whole retraction thing. So how do we power this? We power this from this input line, but how do we power that? Well, we're gonna make a detour above. Oh god, where is this? Yeah, let's just start at the thing, I guess. So we have 3 repeaters like so. We have 2 dust right here. We have 2 repeaters like so. This is our one dark blue block in here, because this is the input which controls the slider falling edge down there. Almost as if I'm gonna have a brain, blah blah blah, you know the joke by now. And then 3 more repeaters, 4 more repeaters, and then a slab going into that. So 4 tick, a 4 tick, a 4 tick. Because we're on the back end, a 2 tick, and then more 4 ticks. I believe this one is a 4 tick as well. Yeah, it is. So this is the entire delay we put into this, and that's actually the entire double pulsing extender done. So yeah, we can't test it now, obviously. So did I put the item back in? Yes, I did. So yeah, that's the entire double pulsing extender on this side. We are going to build the same thing on this side now, but first I guess we can connect. We can finish this wire. So from this, we want a slab right here because budding, of course. And then we want a... Actually, no, that we don't want the thing right here. We want the slab right here because we don't want to bud that. This goes down here where the repeater is, and then we have a 2 tick. There's a 2 and a 4, and this is the 1. Oh, this is the 1 tick actually. So on the right side of the input we have a 1 tick, and then on the other one we have a 4 tick, I believe. Anyways, so this goes back up. This is the slab though, and this is also the slab to not bud anything, and there's a repeater on top of that to make sure we really don't want to bud anything. And yeah, so we can't bud that one, and we can't bud that one, basically. Here we have the torch again with the thing pushing down, and the rest is just wire. Which comes from here into here into a slab because we can't push this, right? And then this can't be butted, and this is actually already the input from the input with another cauldron. There we go, and this is powered by a 3-tick, I believe. Yeah, that's powered by a 3-tick to make everything symmetrical. You kind of have to. The thing is, you kind of have to make this symmetrical. So when we close this, right, you can see how the double piston center actually still stays butted. So should one of these pistons extend like so, the thing retracts and the other one doesn't. So that kind of breaks everything, and that's why the reason why we kind of have to make everything symmetrical up to a certain point in the sequence. So yeah. We actually shouldn't start at this position. We should start at we should do it in the same order as we did back there. So we want a falling edge right here. Instead of a hopper falling edge, we can use a repeater lock falling edge. Going into the pulse lengthener, conveniently pushing this block back. Going into a 1 and a 3. Going into 3 and a 3. This is at the front, it's a 3 and a 3, and at the back, it's a 3 and a 2. Going into, well, that shit we built earlier. And then we have our falling edge right here with a slab because of that budding. Going through a block this time, going through the dropper falling edge right here with an unstackable item in it because signal strength of 3 here, please. Comparator 1 tick right here. Dust, which gets redirected from this dropper with an item in it. Redirect that with a tripwire hook on the side, and that gets powered from here. And 2-tick right here into a block with to compare it with these comparators because this piston has a cauldron in front of it. And yeah, you can see the input block actually abuts that, but because the input block is off when this ever fires, it doesn't matter. So this gets fired by our little dropper heart here, like so, which resets after 1 tick when this stuff actually gets powered, you know. Not put an item in there because this is actually powered right now through this one with another furnace. Now we can put an item in there, and yeah. This gets powered by 4-tick, 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 4-tick. This one is dark blue. And here we go again with the delay, which is actually not the same on the other side. So here we want a 4-tick, a 4-tick, a 4-tick, a 4-tick. Actually a 2-tick right there, I think. So, oh, it is actually the same. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, it is actually the same delay. Wow. We fire this dropper, where we should probably take the item out again. Like so. With a 4-tick, a 4-tick, a 4-tick, and a 3... Oh, it's actually 2 3-ticks and 2 4-ticks. You can see this is like definitely more than the 9 ticks we had over here. And that's because we already lose like what 1, 2, 3 ticks to actually get here, and that's why you know, that's why that has less delay than this. It'll all make sense hopefully later. This needs a hopper with any item in it, or any to replace that item, or any transparent container, because we want this dust to be able to go under this. This is a slab, by the way. This isn't a slab. I thought that was a dropper. That's a furnace actually. Okay, so we have a 1 tick coming out of the input. We have a another cauldron piston. What am I doing? I need the water. Comparator into a 1 tick into slabby. This negates that comparator, goes around. A repeater here to like not fuck up this dust, right? And then this goes back down. This has the 4 tick though, I believe. I just checked this real quickly. Yeah, oh, 3 tick. This has the 3 tick because if you see here, we have 2 repeaters, and here we have 1, 2, and also 1, but this one is 2 ticks later, so that's why this is on a 3 tick. The thing goes back up into the double slabs to prevent budding, and another repeater. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. I should have done that. And then this and this is a slab. And everything should be fine as it is, yeah. So how much did we fuck up? Now that's an entire tick behind. I am so confused. Okay, let's just move on and build the final part, which maybe these things actually update them in order to hope that it's not that one. Also, why is this not working properly? I will look into that shortly. So yeah, so for the yellow, we actually have a really cool circuit where the entire thing is floating above the green, and that was like my main issue on why this shouldn't even work. Because initially I just had like 4 cauldrons getting pushed in. Then I realized I can just have this circle thing. Okay, so that's also where the where all the unstackled items go in. So we lock this comparator with a 4 tick, which just like permanently locks this hopper, and then this hopper is full, and then this hopper is also full, and then this hopper is also full, and then this hopper has 4 items. This would only need 1, but to make it look cool and nice and symmetrical, this has 4 items. So when it's in this state, we lock the items in here. So these currently have items, and in the next state, we are going to lock it right here. So I believe. Or we just do that, I guess. Yeah, that looked wrong. So we have this one. Actually, no, we have it right here. We have a yellow block with a 2 tick, and then we have another piston with a yellow block and another furnace right there. So, yeah, when we lock that and then we unlock that, you can see all the items get stuck in these now, and that just powers that. And the way this is timed is that after this one perfectly like turns on, and it's this nice circle animation, and then for the other edge, it's a really slow delay, but it also works perfectly because in this like rhythm, the last pulse of the thing happens. So if we just like mirror that on the other side, we have an item with item flow which is counterclockwise, and then we have a Two tick right here, locking that with a thing, and then we have a comparator here with another furnace and this piston which pushes that block in there. And the timing for this side is actually different because of this brown thing, right? So over here we have a 2 tick and a 4 tick, and on that side we should have a 3 tick and a 3 tick or something. A 2 tick and a 2 tick. Okay, never mind. So the main idea is just that 2 plus. Well, this is 1 behind, and here this is also 1 behind because 1 plus 2 is 3, and this is just a 4. So yeah, let's try this again in the hope that that fixes itself if we just have the side pistons in there. You know, if you would place items in those, that would be a really helpful cube. Use your brain you're talking about all the time. And the last one just has 4. Yeah, so here's to hope that that fixes itself, because which it doesn't. I mean, it's this part. So if we just make this we just make these barriers, right? We can see what's happening here. So that one fires but can't, and then that happens. So why can't this fire? This can't fire because well, it's either one of the sliders, but why? So it's one of these sliders. So presumably this one, which has 2, 4, 4, and 4. 4, 4, 4, and 2, yes. And then the other one has 4, 4, 2, 2. This one has... I know! How blind am I? I apparently have a brain, but I don't have functioning eyes. Like, when we built this, and I was like, oh, so apparently this also has 4442. I knew these were different, but I just couldn't... not the same on the other side, so... Maybe, just maybe this also fixes this part. Although I doubt that, so oh my god, I just... Yeet! Thank you for watching. This looks like so fucking weird. I mean, I'm not even done, but like, look at this. What the fuck? It gets weirder and weirder. What the fuck? I must say, I'm gonna do this more often, because like, look at this. This is just droppers, hoppers, and furnaces. This looks cool. You can see like the groups of how they work. So you can see individual boxes, you can see this entire huge mess, and how it's like this different staircase design, and then I like it. Bah.